Hey everyone, it's Makeup by Kim Weimer, your over 50 makeup teacher. Look at this gorgeous fall palette that I have curated. It has combinations of warm and cool eyeshadow tones. These are the most common that I use pretty much all year, but when you add a fall color lip and cheek, it's like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. So what I thought I would do was jump on, do a little bit of face makeup, not a lot, have a little conversation about mature makeup tips, easy things that once you start to get texture, I'm 54, I'm going to be 55 in 3.5 weeks. So a little tweaks that you can make, color considerations that you can change maybe if things just are not working for you in the makeup department like they used to be, all those years ago, which could have been yesterday. It's funny how we wake up one day and we're like, we've used makeup all of our life, same makeup, and then all of a sudden one day it's like, well, that's not working for me anymore. And yes, all my lives are uploaded to my profile, so you can always go there and see and check this out. I'm not wanting to make this a very long live video. I don't want to waste your time. So the things that you're going to see and hear now, hopefully you learn a little something. So every time you see me on social media somewhere, I'm hoping that you learn something. That's why I am a makeup teacher. I'm a retired public school educator after 25 years. So teaching is in my veins, okay? And, but likewise, I learn from a lot of other people out there on the interwebs and try them on myself and then think, yeah, probably other people need to know this. And then that's what I share. When you're in public school education, and I was in elementary education, you have to be knowledgeable about lots of little things. I used to teach 5 subjects every day. No, I'm not a scientist. No, I'm not a historian, but I had to teach all of those things. So hopefully what you see here, and if you don't currently follow me, if you would click follow, if you just like simple. If it's complex, you're not going to see it here, okay? I like things that are simple. So let's jump in. I've already put my sunscreen on because after my skincare, I found Korean skincare going on 5 months. It's completely transformed my skin. I love it. I wear less makeup because of it. And if you comment K-Skin, I can give you the link to all of that. That's not what this is about. I'm moisturized with my sunscreen. Yeah, my sunscreen is my primer. I don't use a primer anymore. I used to be a primer girl. I don't have to prime my face anymore now that my skin is in good shape. So it's so cool. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hydrate under my eyes, okay? This is from that Korean skincare line. It is called the Vietton Balm, all right? And I hydrate actually in everywhere that moves, right? Because if we're going to get creasing, it's going to be in areas that move. We have expressions on our face. So that is truly where you're going to end up seeing creasing and cracking, especially if you're using like powders and some liquids. And if you're over applying product in general. So that's one thing as you get older, over 50, you want to cut back on the amount, okay? And sometimes that means the actual type of product that you're using. My favorite, creams. All right, I don't have any makeup on right now except for mascara, okay? So yeah, this is what the Korean skincare has done for me. So excited about it. All I'm going to do right now, though, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on my face, is I'm just going to take a bronzer. This is my one compact makeup system. All of these products are matched for me. Like, these are my skin tone, and I can help you get color matched free. All you got to do is comment match, and I'll send you the link to get color matched so you can build your own palette. But all I'm going to do is I'm going into my bronzer, okay? Because some days I need the big palette, okay? And these are all refillable. You put in there whatever you want. They're small palettes, all things. Or some days I need the bigger, I like options. So all I'm going to do is go in with a bronzer, and I am just going to add dimension. So you can do this with a contour. You might see this where people use a contour. I like a warm look and So that's why I'm using it. I'm using it around my forehead, just not in this divot right here. I'm using it a little bit higher. So when you think of bronzer, you think of the sun. And where does the sun touch you? It touches you on the highest points of your face. That's why this isn't white, because the sun can't reach it. So when you want a natural look, you want to put it where the sun would naturally hit you, which is in this area, right? You can tappy tap on your nose if you want, okay? You don't have to, but a lot of times bronzers are demonized because we know back in the day, or maybe now, if you're used to self-tanning and you know that orange appearance, right? And so if you're going to take a bronzer and you're going to make yourself all bronzed, then you haven't added any dimension or depth into your face. But if you take a bronzer and you strategically place it where the sun would hit you, it looks so natural, it's so beautiful. And because this is a cream, it kind of looks like my skin, all right? If I had a lower top on, I could fill in right here along my clavicles, down my neck to help blend my face and my neck, because rarely are our faces and our necks the same color. They probably aren't. And so that's just a good way of blending those colors. All right, so that's all I'm going to do there. All right, what we're going to concentrate on today is this palette right here. So I've curated this palette because these are all refillable. What I love about building my own eyeshadow compact is they're colors that I love, that I use all the time. And when you go to the drugstore or to Sephora or Ulta and you end up buying, here I have something that's similar. And granted, these are gorgeous shades, but when you buy a palette that already has all of the colors in it and you use 2 of them, or in this particular case, I don't know, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 10 colors here, and I use 4. What do I do when I'm finished those 4? Okay, so when you can put your 4 plus 2 more of your faves in a compact all by itself, and then as you use it, you just pick that one out, toss it out, put a new one in. Okay, so they're $14 each. And then what I did was I added a fall lip and cheek color right here. You're gonna see this looks dangerously dark, but I want you to see it on and then make your call. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit about eyeshadow technique for crepey eyes that have a lot of texture. Here, let's zoom in and look at Kim's eyes. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, lots of texture, lots of wrinkles right here, lots of veins, all right? Step number 1, let's even out, I feel like I'm scaring you. Let's even out that discoloration. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use an eyeshadow primer on that, and this is my absolute favorite eyeshadow primer by a company called Sigma Cosmetics. Sigma has sold out of this twice because I keep talking about it and people keep loving it. It looks like this, and it's going to add longevity to my eyeshadow look, but I think most of the people that are buying this are actually not eyeshadow people at all. They are just people who want to even out their eyelids, add a little mascara, and go, which is me on most days. But can we just take a look? Now, because it has this like peachy cast to it, it color corrects too, because that peach color is really powerful when you're talking about color science in color correcting things that have blue in them. And that's what I have. That's veiny areas that kind of even appear red, they actually have blue. So finding something that has a salmon pink cast is really, really good. So you will also get the links to this. If you comment the word match, you will get the links also to this primer as well. I'm hoping that Sigma gets it back in stock. It might be back in stock right now, or sometimes they have a waiting list. You can also check Amazon. they have a code for me to be able to give you, I believe it's 10% off of that primer. Okay, so that's what we're going to start. We're going to prime the eyelids. It is a misconception, and if this was you, because this was me, it is a misconception when you have aging eyelids that you want to go in with a light color first. Okay, so I'm going to suggest that instead of going in with a light color, that you go in with a transition shade. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, because I'm cooler toned, I'm going to be using the cool colors. Sometimes, even if you're warmer toned, you can use the warmer colors, or you can do a combination of both, which perfect for all eye colors. Okay, so when you comment the word season, you're going to get the links to everything, including this whole palette. Okay, so comment the word season. It's coming to you. Then you can look it over. You can even swap out other colors if you want. Okay, but I built the palettes for you. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to locate a fluffy eyeshadow brush. Now, I come from back in the era when we used the sponge. And y'all know what the sponge is. It's the one that was inside of the Maybelline eyeshadow that would come off after a while. The end of the sponge. Then you just use your finger, which is still totally appropriate. I'm going to clean my eyeshadow brush though. This is just a spray cleanser, and I want to just make sure that my eyeshadow brush is nice and clean, because when you're jumping from color to color, having a clean brush in order to be able to blend the colors together, that's what makes your eyeshadow look finished, polished, okay? And I'm going to go in with a transition shade. Now let's take a look at these, and let's label them either as a highlight or a base shade, a transition shade, or a crease shade. All right, so I don't have any real base shades. This one could be a base shade, okay? This one could be a base shade. I like to refer to those more as transition shades. So what I've put here is transition or base, transition or base. This is called Chai. This is called Bubba. This is called Lullaby. This could be a transition shade. It could not be a base shade. But depending on how much you layer it, so if you wanted it more pigmented, you just build more product where you want it. This is a crease shade. This is called Pomegranate, definitely in the warm category. So warm and warm, cool and cool. And then I put two shimmers here. We're not going to be afraid of shimmer around here. We're just going to know exactly where to put it. Okay, because that's truly what makes all the difference in the world. Not whether or not you use a shimmer. You absolutely can. You might see places or people that say, absolutely, when you're over 50, you don't use any shimmer. Oh girl, we can use shimmer. We don't want to use shimmer where there is a lot of texture, or where we don't want an area to move forward, step forward, because shimmers have glitter, sparkles, and that makes it more noticeable. So let me discuss this for just a minute. If I'm looking at my eyes and I have deep set eyes, that means I have a brow bone that kind of protrudes out over top. It sticks out. All right, it sticks out. I don't have a lot of lid space, so that's not a hooded eye. It's more deep set because my crease is really deep and I have this deep brow. If you have a hooded eye, that means that skin is hanging down lower to your lashes, okay? And that if you place color in the crease, it's lost. If I put color in the crease, I have just deepened my crease and made my eyes look deeper set, okay? Kind of like Skeletor-ish. And if I put a shimmer up here, that's like, it's like, you know, something is like jumping out at you, then that's accentuating that brow bone, and I don't want that. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the fluffy end of a brush. I'm gonna keep a loose grip, okay? We don't need death grips on brushes. We need to allow them to move freely. We also don't need to go in with a lot of product. So what we're going to do is I'm going to keep a nice loose grip on my brush. I'm going to go into Cafe. Okay, that's what this color is right here. Did I say try? It's Cafe. Okay, it's a cool neutral. Everybody needs this color. Now, where I deposit the brush the very first time is going to be where the darkest amount of product is. So use that wisely, right? So for me, what I know is that I don't mind where this transition shade goes, but I am going to keep my eyes open and I'm going to place it. I can see this is my crease. I want to go slightly above it. I don't want to place it in my crease. If it falls in my crease, it's not the end of the world because it's not a dark shade. All right, so I'm going to keep my eyes open and I'm just going to do mini circles. And I'm just going to use this little windshield wiper motion and deposit the color. Now we can take a look each time we do this, and having a fluffy brush is really helpful because it allows you to blend with a little bit of nuance, if that makes any sense. Like you can blend a very small amount of product. And if I want to, I can go back in, grab some more on my brush, tap off the excess, and do the same thing over again. So that transition shade is now getting darker. It's totally okay, right? All right, I do not drop below the corner of my eye or that brow tail, okay? You want to keep that color up high. Sometimes you will see people put like eyeliner tape or something along that line. You can use an edge of a piece of paper, okay? That will help keep your edge. Just line up with your eyebrow in the corner of your eye. That will help as well. Just don't fall below there because then that drops the entire eye. And especially if you have downward turned eyes, you want to make sure that you keep things lifted. Let me zoom in so I can tell you guys one more thing. So, you know, when we are applying eyeshadow, it's really important that you keep a normal expression. If you raise your brows, that stretches the skin, okay? And that your shadow might look great, but then what's going to happen when you drop your brows? Everything drops. So in order to truly be able to perfect your look like you want it when you have normal expression, then keep that expression, all right? Now, here is the one exception to that. I've already traced basically my little stencil so I can see the format of this color. It's okay for me to straighten and up so that I can fill in all of the nooks and crannies, okay? Because there is a lot of texture in there. So that would be the time where it's okay to stretch up your brows. But other than that, you want to keep your expression the same. Let's do the other eye. Fluffy end into a transition shade. I didn't put an all white all over. I used that primer as my base, okay? The primer is grippy, so you might have to work a little bit harder, or you could take a setting powder, a light setting powder, and put over if you like powder over powder. Okay, so we're gonna look straight ahead. I'm going in, not in my crease, but I'm gonna pretend there is a tiny dot just above my crease, and I'm going to go right there. I wish I wouldn't have put mascara on this morning, but my husband and I are celebrating our 32nd anniversary, and we had a wonderful lunch and a wonderful bike ride, so I just stuck some mascara on so I didn't look like bald eyes when we went to lunch. All right, and we're just building color. I'd love to know which of you do your eyeshadow first. If you're an eyeshadow first girl, it is smart to do your eyeshadow first because you might get some fallout from your eyeshadow, but I just never got in the habit of it, so really should reverse my application method. All right, and I'm just going to continue to work that in, not falling below the corner of my eye, not falling below the tail of my brow. Don't neglect your brows. I have had my brows microbladed and then I had them tinted, I guess about a month ago. Don't neglect them. They are the windows to your eyes. So you want to lift. And when I got my brows microbladed, my esthetician said, yeah, when somebody comes in and they say, take 10 years off, she said, well, let's do your brows. And you just don't realize how powerful eyebrows are. Some people have eyebrow blindness, and that's a different thing. That means that you concentrate so much on your brows that your brows look kind of weird. All right, so there's that. All right, so what are we going to do now? The next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I like to deepen this outer corner with a darker color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this warm color here called pomegranate. Pomegranate is a deep red burgundy. I'm going to also go ahead and use that fluffy end, but I am grabbing little product, little, so tiny, okay? And I'm going to go right here. So on my top outer lash line, I'm not going to fall above that. I'm going to go inward a little bit, all right? And I'm just going to keep my expression kind of normal until I plant my color where I want it. Sorry, I have to look over here for just a second, but you guys should be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, you can see where I planted my color right there. Simple. And then I can start feathering that in, and I can start feathering it up. All right. For me, what I don't want to start doing is taking that dark color and filling it in my crease. Again, I have deep set eyes. If I darken that crease, it's going to make it look deeper. Okay, now this is for my eyes. If you don't have a deep crease, you can go ahead and fill that in for sure. It's all just about depositing that darker color in the outer corner. This is also when you hear people refer to a smoky eye, this is the idea. You know, you're just building that darker color on the outer corner. All right, so I'm going in. If you comment season, you will get this palette sent to you. And like I said, it's completely refillable and interchangeable. You can swap out colors. You can do whatever it is that you want. But this palette I've created because the colors are so versatile with cool and warm tones and so many combos there that you could mix and match. Do you guys see where I deposited the color? All right, now I'm just gonna flick up a little bit and I can flick in and just kind of blend that in a really pretty fashion. When we go in with the intention of, I need to get this makeup on really fast. Which is totally a thing. Believe me, teaching for 25 years, I wanted out the door. I wanted makeup and hair out the door, no longer than 20 minutes to do both, or we were pushing it. But sometimes just taking time, a little bit of time, and doing 2 colors instead of doing multiple colors, it changes the entire look altogether. All right, so this is a great example of how I mixed warm and cool colors together, but they're still complementary. Okay, I have blue eyes. These colors are great for any eye color, but it would be also great for any skin tone, excuse me, as well. All right, back to their shimmer discussion. So this is a 3-color combo demo here. I put 2 shimmers here. This one is called Bend and Snap. It has kind of like a purpley gray hue to it. It's a very dull shimmer, not something that's like, wah. And then Hot Chocolate, which probably is my favorite shimmer. It's a brown shimmer, a little bit more bold, but I like to use my finger. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm tapping it right here. Okay, so all women who have crepey eyelids, this is where your shimmer goes. And this is, if I say this is only where your shimmer goes, then somebody's going to say, no, I can wear shimmer wherever I want. Yes, you absolutely can. Okay. I'm not telling anybody what to do. Y'all do yourself. I'm just here to give you a few tips that if you like to accentuate or de-emphasize texture, then you're not going to use shimmer anywhere else except for right here. And even if you get too far in the inner corner, where we have these little fat pads, and mine have kind of vanished since I started using the Korean skincare. I used to have a really deep fat pad right here, and it's not there anymore. It's a hydration thing, honestly. It truly is. The skincare just hydrates. All right, so this is hot chocolate right on that movable lid. You can just feel your eyeball actually beneath it. I like to use my finger. If I use a brush for shimmer, guess where the shimmer's going to end? Up right here. Okay, and I haven't done anything right there yet for that reason. So we'll fix and color correct. All right, so there's that. Now, what are we going to do about eyeliner? So a couple days ago, I noticed that some of the fall trends, one was mauve lipstick or shades of mauve. One was colored eyeliner, and I love colored eyeliner. And I'm not talking about brown and black. Those are the common ones. I'm talking about blues, purples, greens. That's a trend. And if you do a simple eyeshadow look and then you end up adding a colored eyeliner in a very tasteful way, it can bring out the color in your eyes. It can be absolutely beautiful. And so I'm going to go ahead and use, this is an eyeliner by a company called Revant. It's a gel eyeliner. And the reason that I love gels is because they glide on mature eyes. If you've ever had those eyeliners that skip a beat when you're trying to go over your eyeliner or your eyelid because you have texture there, then you will want something that is more gel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this liner really close to my lash line underneath. So it's almost like I'm going in between my lashes. So this is a really thin line. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not trying to get in between every lash. That would be ludicrous, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and bring it on down and just tap on my lower lash line. Now, I don't go all the way to the corner. If you like it all the way to the corner, you go for it. It can make your eyes look smaller, and I like a softer look, not really a harsher look. Now, what I'm going to do, let me zoom in for y'all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this from my lower lash. Again, really important, don't raise your brows because this area right here is falling. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up from my lower lash line and I'm going to draw a little line. Now, it's not going to be pretty because I do have so much texture there. I always envy watching these makeup artists or just girls and women in general who make these beautiful wings and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to do that. And then I go to do that and it never looks like that. But if I'm just following my lower lash line up just a little, you're just going to give it a little flickaroo. Then I can take another brush, something that's a little stiffer. Let me find one here. Here's one. Okay, something that's a little stiffer. This is called the multitasker. And I am going to kind of flick up. And I can even flick in so that this blue ends up mixing in with these burgundies and golds. Okay, so this is the color blue. The eyeliner is the color blue. Okay, so it does not have to be like wild and crazy, it can be simple by using a colored eyeliner. So let's do the same thing on this side. I'm going to just tap the inner liner or the inner lashes right along my lash line. You can go in and go on top too, if you like a top liner. Totally. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing here, just tapping. Right on top. Okay. And now we're going to follow the lower lash line. Don't raise your brows, Kim. Don't raise your brows, Kim. Just leave them still. Flickaroo. Let's get that off of there. That's what happens when you have skin that's kind of hanging. Then we're going to take a stiffer brush and we're going to soften it out. Okay, and that's really, with mature eyes, keeping a softer look makes all the difference in the world so that it just doesn't look too harsh. Let me make sure I got my eyes even. So that it doesn't look so harsh. You can still wear black eyeliner, just be selective as to where you're putting it. Now I'm going to go ahead into, let's go ahead into Cafe, and I'm going to put that underneath of my lower lash line. Okay, I'm just going to use that smaller end of this fluffy brush. This is the eyeshadow brush, by the way. Great name, because it's a great brush. And now we just softened that entire look. Okay, this is what we got. Just make sure, I'm going to do a once over of the blending. Comment season if you're interested in getting this. So let's go ahead and do some color correction. Bop, 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 bop. Color correction rate. I don't really need color correction. What I need is I need to move this area because I have these troughs right here that are pretty indented. I need something, and there's not a lot of discoloration, but there is some hollowing. So I need something a little bit lighter in this area to bring this area forward. This area right here could actually use a little bit of color. So let's talk about that for a minute. If you have an area underneath of your eyes that is, think about it this way. We always think about removing color as we get older, like removing the blue in my dark under eyes, removing the purple, removing the red. But we never think, do we need to add color in order to balance? And that's just a new way of thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a little bit of color right here. I'm going to use a little bit of a bronzer. Yeah, let's use a little bit of bronzer. Not a lot. It's just going to be a little hint. Not a lot. And I'm just going to add a little bit of color. And by adding a little bit of color, it makes these deep troughs not appear as noticeable. So did you see that? So right here, we always think, oh my gosh, I need to make my complete under eye bright. But do you? Is that natural? It's not natural. Now I'm going to go in with a lighter concealer shade, and I'm going to brighten this area right here. Now, can we just look at what just happened here? So now I'm brightening the area that needs brightened, and I darkened the area that needs darkened because it was already too light. I'm going to even take a little bit of this accent highlight and pull it down right here. Where my brushes go. Take a little beauty blender, tap it out a little bit. And it's time to do some cheeks. So back to the curated palette, if you comment season, you'll get this link along with some other things, the skincare, if you want to color match. So this is Black Cherry, all right? Before we do that, let me go ahead and line my lips. I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips with, I don't know, I'll just use my contour to line my lips, I guess. And I'm just gonna put a little bit here and a little bit here, just to give them some shape. All right, and now we're gonna go in to Black Cherry. And this is one of the biggest sellers, this color, and you're about to see why. Because it is that beautiful. And it also is perfect for all skin tones. Now I'm going to go in and add it to my cheeks. So pretty. And the other cheek. When you're working with creams, they are highly pigmented, or at least these are. So you don't need much. Like this could possibly last you a whole year. Those same eyeshadow colors will last you and last you. They're large. I feel like I got my lip liner crooked. Possibility. All right, this, guys, this is the entire look, with the exception of a bronzer, is this. So we're gonna call this a day. If you have hung in there and you learned a few tips, let me know which tip you learned that was your favorite. Comment the word season or comment the word match, and you will get the links to everything that we talked about. My name is Kim, and I am your over 50 makeup teacher. If you want to learn more easy, simple tips for women over 50, make sure you click follow. See you soon.